Hey, it's your girl Mariah Sincere, and I am back with another bomb lunch hour. Honestly, guys, I'm gonna change the name of this show to the afternoon show because I'm quickly realizing that I'm not gonna be able to come on here during lunchtime anymore because I'm trying to get like my workout and stuff done in the morning. It's just too much. So y'all be looking for me around like 3 when you're getting off work. So I am gonna change the name. This is gonna be the last title called the lunch hour. If you are just now tuning in to me, my name is Mariah Sincere. I'm a self love coach who specializes in helping people radically transform their lives through affordable one on one coaching. Hey, Olivia, happy Friday, sis. Good to see you here. Yes, gang, gang. Can I say that on YouTube? I be trying not to get my videos flagged. Um, so hey Jamal, happy Friday. Okay, I got my people with me. I'm feeling like Webby. Can y'all hear me good? Put a one in the chat if you can hear me good. Yes, so I've been through it all: traumatic childhood, toxic relationships, not being where I want to be in life, and through it all, I've been able to do better, overcome. So if that's something that you need help with, hit me up. My email address is thepassportsis@gmail.com. The link is in the description box. Okay, great. Here at the vet with my ex-wife's friends and sick dog. Oh, I hope your dog is okay, Jamal. Haiti Mally, what's up? My God, okay, like I'm happy y'all coming through. Like my phone is over there, y'all. Give me a second. Let me get my phone because I need to post that I'm on live. Only person we missed now was we missed the Skinny Boy, we missed the Carlos, and so we missed a couple people actually. Hold on, give me a second. Y'all, I apologize for my hair. I know I look like a wet puppy. I just got out the shower. Give me one second. Let me put out a notification. Guys, mothers, are y'all okay out here? Like for real. I'm not even playing. I'm not even playing. What is going on with these mothers? Give me one second. I am supremely disturbed by what I am seeing. Okay, so we talked last time about the woman who put her 2 children in the oven and baked them, and then sent the video to the children's father. Okay, then she got on a 911 call and basically tried to say her cousin, who she left to babysit her kids, left them alone, and they somehow managed to cook themselves. Some really crazy stuff like that. And I remember y'all were saying like, they're making, black women the face of this. But I did a little bit of digging on TikTok out here in these streets, and this is an epidemic at this point, y'all. These mothers are going crazy. Okay. Um, Now, before we get into that, I do want to talk about this story right here. Um, Disclaimer: I am not trying to. Before I share this story, I am not trying to paint all immigrants as people who touch children. What I will say, and this is just a fact and a reality of life, some things are more prominent in certain cultures than others. And here's the thing: all Hispanic cultures are different. What might be more prominent in one country might be less prominent and more frowned upon in another country. Do y'all understand what I'm trying to say? All cultures are different. Okay, you go to the Middle East, their attitudes towards marrying children are different than in the United States. So a lot of the times people don't like to hear the truth. So anytime you try to speak truth about cultural norms, people get upset or they feel like you're being racist when it's like, okay, well, just go wander into that culture naively and leave yourself unguarded, unprotected, and see what happens. Honestly and truly. Just, So again, this is not trying to characterize everybody from a certain culture or a certain group of people as the same. It's some cultures where they're not going for none of this. It's some Hispanic cultures where they are not going for none of this that I'm about to talk about. But then there are some, like I was telling y'all the other day, when the dude that my grandfather used to work with told my grandfather straight up, as soon as she gets some hair down there, she ready. Okay, that's what the man told my grandpa. Okay, so I'm going to share this story with y'all, and it really pissed me off. I'm on mute. Y'all can't hear me? Put a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. Okay. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Okay. Do y'all? Okay. D-Valley, you said you hear me. Okay, great. So I'm going to share this with y'all. Okay, let me make sure y'all can see. Okay. Venezuelan migrant accused of sexually assaulting his boss's 14-year-old daughter while living in their home. That's the part that pissed me off. Because, sir, why you let this man come live in the house with you and your daughter? So, Jesus Castillo, 20, was arrested in Denver on Tuesday after being on the run for almost 3 months following the alleged incident, as reported by the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. Police were called to the home on August 29th about Castillo, who allegedly forced himself on the 14-year-old girl and sexually assaulted her that night. However, he had already fled the scene by the time the police arrived. Detectives finally found and arrested Castillo in Denver this week. He crossed the border into El Paso, Texas illegally in September 2023, but was released by Border Patrol agents because there wasn't enough space to hold him, according to Homeland Security sources. Castillo claimed he was headed to Orlando, but ended up in Colorado. He was arrested there in May for allegedly having tools for forgery and theft. After the sexual assault, ICE lodged a detainer for Castillo's arrest. He is now in the custody of the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. Okay, so I'm going to say this. He's 20 and the girl was 14. So honestly, I don't see how the father didn't see this coming. I don't see how the father did not see this coming. And they're not saying, because they're saying it's his boss. I'm going to assume this is a man. I'm assuming this is a man, right? They don't say whether the boss was the woman, was the father, or the mother. Either way, the parents, whatever, let this 20-year-old young boy, really, because he's only 20, come live in the house with their 14-year-old daughter. Now, I would have been thinking, like, regardless of whether or not he forced himself on her, when you put a 14-year-old girl and a 20-year-old man, he just got out of his teenage years in the same house, I'm automatically assuming there's going to be some goosing going on, period. I wouldn't be having that with my 14-year-old daughter in the house. That's just me personally, right? So they didn't specify. I don't know if they walked in on him forcing himself on her. I don't know if the girl went and told that he was forcing himself on her. And it could honestly, and I hate to say this, it could honestly be a situation where she was with it. Now, he's still wrong, but again, that is just stupidity on the parents' fault for even allowing him to come live with them. Am I tripping? Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. And I hate to like victim blame here, but this is the problem with just allowing people into this country with no background check. Again, he's had other charges for forgery and things like that. We don't know what he was in Venezuela doing. And there's no way that you can verify what he was doing. You can't run a background check on this man if you want to. So you already got this young man living with you and your daughter that you can't even run a background check on if you wanted to, because there's no paper trail on it. That is stupid. No comment because I need more details. I assumed he attacked her viciously. Yeah, and they're not giving enough details, and we weren't there. I'm gonna say whether it was an attack or whether it was mutual, because I could see that honestly and truly, y'all, because the age gap is so close. I could see it being a mutual thing. He's still wrong, but he's not an ugly looking man. If you look at him, you know, he needs to eat better. He got all that, you know, a little bit of acne on his face, but he's not a bad looking man at all. So the age difference is so close that I could honestly see that being a situation where she may or may not have been with it. You know, still he should have kept his hands off of her, because, and I don't know if people are explaining. That's the thing. When you have people come over here and they're not researching our laws, like, this might have been cool in Venezuela for you to do that, sir, but you can't be 20 years old sleeping with 14-year-old girls in the United States. You just can't do that. You just can't. So I'm saying, regardless of whether or not it was a vicious thing or she was with it, the parents are wrong for letting this young man come stay with them. And again, he ain't bad looking. He ain't bad looking. I ain't even gonna hold you. At 14, if he would have came and stayed with me, I might would have been talking to the young man. I ain't even gonna hold you. Okay. Again, I'm not blaming the girl at all. If she got viciously attacked, I hope they find him and they put him in jail. I'm not saying she's lying. I'm saying we don't have enough information to know. Okay, so let's talk about these mothers, y'all. I'm gonna show y'all a few of them. These women are going crazy, and honestly and truly, it's getting to the point where I'm like for sterilization. I feel like some people do need to be sterilized, and for sterilization, like especially if you have history of severe mental health issues. And some people just don't need to be allowed to have kids. I'm sorry. It's getting to the point where I feel like we need to be at, you know how you take a driver's license to see if you can drive? There needs to be some criteria for people being able to have children at this point, because too many kids are suffering at the hands of these parents. So this says, I don't know how to say this, y'all. Escalante County mom arrested for allegedly drowning her 14-year-old daughter in a bathtub during a violent struggle. So, tragic incident in Osceola County, Florida has led to the that's all they had to say, really, has led to the arrest of a 35-year-old Kelsey Glover. Witnesses reported seeing Glover allegedly holding her 14-year-old daughter underwater in a tub. How can you do this? Like, how can you do this to your child? And that is violent. Like, you got to do it for a long time and like literally feel the breath go out of your child's lungs. Authorities found the teen unresponsive in an upstairs bathroom. She was rushed to the hospital but later pronounced unalive. The scene was chaotic upon the deputy's arrival. Glover reportedly attempted to attack a witness with a hammer. This chick is crazy, requiring law enforcement to disarm her during the arrest. No, baby, they should have unalived her. But I guess maybe they were trying to make sure she got her due justice in the court of law. According to Sheriff Marcos Lopez, 4 people were present in the home. Glover, her daughter, another child, and another resident. And I'm like, what the hell were y'all all doing? Were they not present? Like, were they too scared? Why y'all all ain't jump her? I need more information. Did they come in on the tail end and the damage was already done? Glover faces charges of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and battery as the investigation into the possible homicide continues. I mean, it's seeming like it was a homicide to me. I don't know why they haven't went ahead and charged her with that. I'm pretty sure they will. She looks crazy. She looks like ain't no soul in her eyes. You know, I'm gonna keep it real. I guess this is part of me being a little bit transparent. So my mother did this to me several times when I was a kid. She just never went all the way with it. Like she stopped right before, we got to. My mom did a lot of crazy stuff. She would just snap. I told you my mom has severe mental illness. So she would just snap, get upset over something, come in the bathroom and start trying to drown me, choke me out, all kind of stuff. So this is real and it's sad and it's scary. And that's what I'm saying. People who have severe mental illness, they do not need to be having kids. Also, I feel like the pressures and the weight of the society at large is making parents snap. Like they can't handle. A lot of people are folding right now, y'all. A lot of people are folding, especially people who had kids out of poverty, especially people who had kids and maybe they just had a kid because they were trying to keep the baby father around, but they didn't really want those kids, or they had a kid and they got abandoned and they don't really have help. Women don't have a community that we used to have. It's very lonely and isolating. And I feel like we're going to see these instances continue to rise. And that's why I say people might think it's wrong. People might feel like, people could use this to do nefarious stuff. But I believe that some people just need to be sterilized. Like, I'm sorry. Like, this woman should never be able to get pregnant again. And it's crazy because I saw a story. This was like I heard about this story when I was 21. There was a woman who she let her boyfriend and his cousin rape and assault her baby. Like they were doing stuff like throwing the baby up in the ceiling and catching the baby, like letting the baby hit the ceiling. Like the baby had, when they examined the baby's body, she had so many broken bones and things of that nature. Well, the mom went to jail, but she ended up getting out and getting pregnant again. What? That type of woman, first of all, she should have got more time. And second, that should require automatic sterilization. And again, they did this over a long period of time. Damn, Mariah, I'm glad you can continue to live through traumas. You know what's crazy? Like, I don't even really, like, I can talk about these things. And I know I kind of got a little bit emotional when I talked about it on my last live, but because I've like done so much healing and because I've made my life what I want it to be, sometimes when I talk about these things, it feels like I'm talking about somebody else. Like it feels like I'm talking about somebody else's life because I don't really get too emotional about it. Do you understand? It just kind of feels like, oh, that's something that happened. Now, I mean, a long time ago when I was like 18 or 17 or something like I would cry and get emotional, or even when I was 23. But now, I mean, this y'all gotta understand, a lot of this stuff happened like 20 years ago. I don't necessarily feel the same way about it. I don't want anybody else to go through it. Okay, so I found a couple of other stories on TikTok. Give me a minute. Okay, so
32-year-old Tiffany Lucas.
Let me make sure that y'all can see this. Period. There are people who use things that have happened to them as an excuse not to heal and progress in life. So kudos to you. Yeah, thank you, Olivia. Yeah, I mean, that's not fair. Imagine, like, that's not being fair to you. If you already had a hard childhood, why stay stuck there? And as an adult, have a shitty ass life. Like, no, I feel like I'm old at this point. And what I mean by that is I'm even willing to do my own work. I don't feel like people should give me something, but I feel like I'm old an amazing life for the rest of my life. I feel like I paid my dues. And again, how life works is there's always up and downs. You know, you'll always have periods where you go through things, but like I'm gonna laugh and I'm smiling, I'm gonna have fun while I can. Do you hear me? Thank you, D Mally. I appreciate that. I appreciate y'all for real. Okay, so let's look at this young mom. It says mom unalives young sons and blames Facebooks. So let's see.
who had a history of jail time after spending a month behind bars for drug possession. One day last week, her neighbor was pulling into his driveway and saw Tiffany walk down the front stairs of her porch before collapsing. She told him her kids were dying, and when he went into the house, he found the two boys in a bedroom and a gun on the bed. On Ring doorbell footage that hasn't been released to the public, 4 shots can be heard in 30 seconds before Tiffany walks.
This is so heartbreaking because those little boys look so young and cute and innocent. And she's a pretty girl too.
Out of the house.
Not that that matters, but like this just goes to show, because I know a lot of the pictures that they show of the moms doing this, the moms are looking like raggedy. But this just, they ain't got their hair done. They look like they're taking care of themselves. But this is a woman who looks like she took care of herself and she still did this. So it's kind of like you can't really tell just by looking at a person if they would do something like this, right? And I personally, this is another thing. If you have a history, like a long history of drug abuse, right? If you're in and out, if it's the point where you got to do time for drugs, I don't think you should be having kids. Like those people should be getting sterilized for real, for real. I don't care. I don't care. If it's to the point where you're a one, especially like as a woman, because these are the people who have to carry the children, y'all. So if you're a woman and you're a drug addict, you don't need to be able to have kids because they don't stop doing drugs when they have kids. And I'm not talking about for stuff like weed, even though you shouldn't be smoking weed while you're pregnant. Apparently that's a thing now. But if you're doing like hardcore drugs, you absolutely need to be sterilized. I'm sorry, you do. If you're an alcoholic.
Shot in the head, the boys were alive when they arrived at the hospital. They were rushed into surgery, but ultimately died from their injuries. When questioned, Tiffany said she was, quote, in such a bad spot, and that the shooting was an accident, and reportedly said she was being manipulated through Facebook or the internet or through Wi-Fi. She was emotionless when the judge set her bail at $2 million. The family thinks substance abuse also played a role. 32-year-old Tiffany Lucas.
Girl. And the thing is, the girl ain't crying.
Who had a history of jail time.
She doesn't have any emotions. And she's blaming it on Facebook. Now, it's possible. I feel like social media contributes to a lot of mental illness. If you're constantly on social media and you are not going outside and touching some grass, I do believe that can drive people a little bit cuckoo. And Facebook is toxic. I don't see how people stay on Facebook all day. When I go on Facebook, I go and I post. Most of the time, I don't even scroll through Facebook. So for all of my Facebook friends who think I might be acting funny because I don't like anything, that's because every time I get on Facebook, people are talking about smegs. That's all they talk about, smegs and relationships, and it's so toxic. Yeah, you have people on there being positive, but they come a dime a dozen because everybody's trying to get that engagement on Facebook. So they'll just post crazy stuff that they don't even believe. It's just, that's the way you make money on Facebook. But she looked like she don't have no soul. I hope she does jail for a really long time. And I hope that she gets the unaliving penalty. That is what I hope for her. They need not ever let her out and let her have kids. Did y'all hear about those inmates who were like, I guess it was some type of co-ed prison? And they hadn't even met each other. And they passed semen through the vents. And the female inmate got pregnant. Did y'all hear about that? Crazy. Yeah, them type of people don't need to have kids either. Because, ma'am, how you getting pregnant in jail?
The Huntsman families found.
So this is a woman who had 6 children that she unalived.
Foundation was deeply rooted in the teachings of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This religious backdrop not only provided structure and guidance, but also cultivated Megan's moral values and sense of community. From an early age, she was immersed in a supportive network that shaped her worldview and influenced her choices as she navigated the complexities of adolescence. Her high school years at Pleasant Grove High School were characterized by a quiet demeanor and a dedication to her studies. Megan was known for her unassuming presence, preferring to observe rather than seek the spotlight. It was during this time that she crossed paths with Darren West, a fellow student whose charm and shared religious convictions resonated deeply with her. Their relationship blossomed quickly, fueled by mutual respect and a shared vision of their future together. By April 1993, shortly after Megan's 18th birthday, the young couple made the decision to marry. Their wedding day, though modest, was filled with profound significance and heartfelt
Okay, are y'all
promises.
gonna get to the story?
For Megan and Darren, it marked the beginning of a journey filled with optimism and the excitement of building a life together. They embarked on this new chapter with determination, ready to face life's challenges as a united team. As they settled into married life, Megan and Darren embraced their roles with enthusiasm and dedication. The Huntsman family
Hold on now. I gotta go on this girl's page. Okay, so this is the let me see. This is the part
became a
3.
sanctuary of love and support, where they nurtured their dreams and laid the groundwork for their future. Despite the inevitable obstacles that life presented, they approached each hurdle with resilience and a shared belief in their ability to overcome. For Megan, this period represented not only a transition into adulthood, but also a time of personal growth and maturation. She embraced the responsibilities of marriage and the prospect of starting a family with unwavering commitment. Little did she know, however, that the path ahead would take unforeseen.
Let me say this too. Women don't. Okay, so I understand, and this is one thing that I diverge from a lot of people in the Republican Party from, and a lot of these people who are saying, oh, we need to go back to family values and things like that. We do need to get back to family values. We do need to get back to, hey, like, women need to take that seriously. If you don't have a man that is supportive in your life, like extremely supportive, it's okay to not have kids. Like, it's okay to say, hey, I haven't found somebody who I feel like is going to help me, and I'm not going to be mentally stressed out, because women need to understand we are very mentally fragile. We are a lot more emotional in terms of like being moody and things like that than men. And it's okay to acknowledge that. And it's okay to say, hey, when we're between the ages of like 18 and 25, we really don't have that emotional control. And like, personally, I feel like if I would have had 3 kids by the time a lot of these trad wives are having them, like a lot of these trad wives are like, by the time they're 25, they've had 3 and 4 and 5 kids. I probably would have been a terrible mother, because I already get like, I have so much stuff going on. And like, I feel like it takes so much to, I like pour into my daughter. Like, I love my daughter. And I wonder, like, how can people put this much energy into like 3 kids and not be completely exhausted? Not just that, when you're young, you make dumb decisions. I feel like as I've gotten older, because I had my child at 23, as I've gotten older and as I've gotten wiser, my parenting has been so much better, right? So I couldn't imagine being that young, not having that much control of your emotions developmentally. Your brain isn't fully developed, and then having 3 and 4 and 5 kids, I feel like that alone would kind of mess you up just a little bit. And yes, there are women who have had kids that young and they're just fine. There are plenty of them, but I think that's why a lot of like older kids kind of have a little resentment, because they said the mom was a better parent to the baby or the smaller kid, and like the older kid was the one they made all the mistakes with, Yes, mindset is definitely important. I always said if I don't get married, I'm not having any more kids. Yeah, like what's and then we got to ask ourselves, why do we want to have kids? Especially like somebody like me. I don't know, y'all. I'm not saying never, but when I think about the life that I want to live and the things that I want to accomplish, I'm not in a rush to have kids because I already have one. I might be able to do one more. That's it. But again, if I don't do that by a certain age, I don't want to start over, you know?
And tragic turns, ultimately shaping the course of her life in ways she could never have imagined. Their marriage, which began with optimism and dreams of a bright future, gradually descended into a far cry from the idyllic union they had envisioned. Over time, the pressures of life began to chip away at the foundation they had built together. Financial hardships mounted, compounded by the stress of raising a growing family and the weight of unmet expectations. These challenges became fertile ground for discord, gradually eroding the once solid bond between Megan Huntsman and Darren West. As they grappled with mounting pressures, Megan and Darren turned to substances as a coping mechanism. What started as occasional
See, it's them drugs. Them drugs. Y'all, I have met so many couples who do drugs together. I don't understand it. Personally, I don't understand it. If my if my significant other would allow me to like do drugs with them, I would feel like they don't love me. Like I would feel like they don't care about me. For real. And it's one thing to, I guess, smoke weed together and drink occasionally. But even then, like I feel like if I cared about somebody and I saw them drinking and doing too much, like I would tell them, hey, I wouldn't indulge in that with them. I'd be like, bro, you're drinking too much. You're drinking every day. And I would leave. Like if it was a situation where you're becoming an alcoholic, I would leave because I'm not going to subject me and my kids to that, right? But when I see these couples doing drugs together, and then it's like y'all got together and y'all weren't doing it, and then y'all started doing it, that is so weird to me.
use soon escalated into full-blown addiction, with methamphetamine becoming their drug of choice.
Yeah.
The drug's grip tightened around them, transforming their home from a place of love and support into one marked by turmoil and unpredictability. It became a sanctuary of love and support,
Mhm.
where they nurtured their
And how
dreams
y'all go
and
from
laid
being
the
a Christian
groundwork for their
family
future.
to being on drugs together? That's what I'm trying to understand.
The descent into addiction ushered in a darker chapter in their lives. Arguments, once infrequent, became commonplace and increasingly volatile, often culminating in physical altercations. The toxicity of their relationship spilled over into their parenting, exposing their children to the harsh realities of addiction and domestic strife. Amidst this turbulent environment, Megan struggled to shield her children from the fallout, even as she battled her own demons. The turning point came with Darren West's conviction on methamphetamine-related charges in 2006, leading to a lengthy prison sentence that would keep him incarcerated until 2014.
Mm.
His absence left Megan to navigate the aftermath alone, grappling with the wreckage of their marriage and the daunting task of single parenthood. While his incarceration
So I'm willing to bet, and they haven't said anything about her going and getting an education, but I'm willing to bet because they got married young, they met in the church, that she didn't have any type of college degree, and she probably didn't have anything much of a career going for her. So now your man went to jail, and you got to try to take care of all these kids by yourself, but you don't have any skills to do it. That's why that's a dangerous game for women to play. It's not about wanting to be a city girl or be out here in these streets or not wanting to settle down young. When you don't have your own, and then on top of that, you have six kids is crazy. To me, 6 kids is crazy even for rich folks. I'm sorry. 6 kids is wild to just be popping out back to back to back like that. But anything could happen to your man. It's not even about him just leaving you. He could go to jail. He could get unalived. And you don't have what it. I feel like as a woman, if you cannot afford to take care of a child on your own, you should not have them. Meaning, even if you are married, if you would not be able to take care of an additional child if something happened to your husband, I don't think you should have them even if the husband wants to have it. If you couldn't afford them on your own, because it's possible for a multitude of reasons that you'd have to raise these kids on your own, don't have them. That's too many kids. You should be able to raise every kid that you have on one salary. It could even be a situation where your husband loses his job for an extended period of time, or you lose your job for an extended period of time. If you cannot raise those kids on one salary, don't have it.
Operation offered a respite from the immediate threat of violence. It also laid bare the stark realities they had been
Exactly, it
trying to
does.
escape. For Megan, the years of Darren's imprisonment were a crucible of survival and introspection. She faced the dual challenges of raising their children and confronting her addiction head-on, all while grappling with the profound loss of the life they had once envisioned together. The struggle to maintain stability and provide for her family amidst the chaos painted a poignant picture of resilience in the face of adversity. On April 13th,
Guys, if y'all are just now coming in, please hit the like button. That lets people know that I'm on live. Thank you.
2014, shortly after Darren West's release from prison, he returned to the home he once shared with Megan Huntsman. Determined to put his past behind him and reclaim some semblance of normalcy, he set about the task of cleaning out the garage. This space, once a repository for family belongings and mementos, had become a chaotic jumble of forgotten items and clutter accumulated over the years. The descent into addiction ushered in a darker chapter in their lives. Arguments, once infrequent, became commonplace and increasingly volatile, often culminating in physical altercations. The toxicity of their relationship spilled over into their parenting, exposing their children to the harsh realities of addiction and domestic strife.
Okay, I think we done started
Amidst,
over. Okay, now y'all get to the
as
point.
Darren sifted through the debris,
part 4.
he stumbled upon a small white box tucked away in a corner. Curiosity piqued. Darren opened the box, expecting to find old keepsakes or household items. Instead, he was met with a horrifying discovery that would forever alter his life.
What did he find?
Inside, wrapped in plastic, was the tiny, decaying body of an infant. Shock and disbelief washed over him as he grappled with the macabre scene before him. The garage, a place of mundane storage, had become a chilling crime scene. Stunned,
Hold on. The man came home and was cleaning the garage, and she wrapped the baby up and put the baby in the garage. What? I wonder if he started cleaning up because he could smell that, because that has a smell. Unalive bodies have a smell. And it's a very particular smell. You know when you're smelling an unalive. Okay, now I'm curious. Was this his child, or did she get pregnant while he was in jail? Let's see.
and unable to comprehend the magnitude of his find, Darren immediately contacted the authorities. The subsequent investigation would reveal a series of grim
Hurricane
secrets
Pyro.
that Megan had hidden for years. As West immediately called the police, unable to process the horror of his discovery alone. Law enforcement arrived swiftly and began a thorough search of the home. What they found shocked even the most seasoned investigators. Hidden away in the garage, they uncovered 6 more dead infants, each stashed in boxes similar to the first. The once ordinary garage had now become a graveyard, each box a silent testament to a dark and tragic series of events. Megan Huntsman was taken into custody and subjected to intense questioning. Faced with overwhelming evidence, she admitted to killing the infants over a span of 10 years, from 1996 to 2006. As Darren sifted through the debris,
Hold on. Okay. Now I have to see, were these his babies? Why didn't she just go get an abortion?
during this period, Megan was heavily addicted to methamphetamine and alcohol, substances that had ravaged her life and judgment. She confessed that one of the infants was stillborn, a fact later confirmed by autopsy, but the others were born alive and then killed.
Why was she having these kids at home? Why is she not going to the hospital having the babies and giving them up for adoption. If you're gonna have them, you might as well go to the hospital and try to give them up for adoption. If you're gonna have them and you're not gonna get an abortion, at this time abortion was legal. You just having these babies.
Killed. Huntsman explained that she felt she couldn't afford to raise the children. Overwhelmed by her addiction and the chaotic state of her life, she believed that killing the infants was her only option. Her chilling rationale revealed a mind warped by substance abuse and desperation. Shockingly, she admitted,
I mean, she gotta be out of her right mind, because how do you carry kids that you don't want for 9 months and you're on drugs? And like, people could say maybe she couldn't afford to get an abortion, but I mean, honestly, it was probably cheaper then, and it was legal everywhere. And if you can afford to go buy meth, you can, put that money away somewhere and go, if she was paying her bills, I'm assuming she could afford to go get an abortion. What's wrong with
that
these
bearing,
women?
birthing, and killing multiple children seemed easier to her than using birth control. This gruesome revelation
Yes, girl.
painted a harrowing picture of her mental state and the extent of her addiction's impact on her actions.
Oh, thank you.
As the investigation unfolded, the community of Pleasant Grove grappled with the shocking truth about a woman they had known for years. The case drew national attention, highlighting the devastating effects of addiction and the hidden horrors that can fester behind closed doors.
I mean, to me, that's I feel like, and again, so not everybody who does drugs becomes a drug addict. That is like a genetic predisposition. Do y'all understand? Like, there are people who can go do methamphetamines and who can do any type of drug, and like they just tried it and they never get addicted, right? Addiction is a personality trait. Like, it's the personality characteristic. And I feel like if you get that addicted to where you're doing stuff like this, there was already something very, very wrong, right? The drugs might have intensified it. It might have taken you over the edge. But I feel like there was some other stuff going on here, because to have 6 babies, carry them to term, and then, unalive 5 of them, and then bury all of them in the garage, like, and then you put it in the garage, like it's like you're collecting babies. Like, dang, like, ma'am, at least go like bury them under the ground. You're collecting them in your garage? It's insane.
Megan Huntsman's story became a tragic example of how substance abuse can lead to unimaginable actions.
I know plenty of crackheads who would never do this. Like that, you know what I'm saying? That is extreme.
And irrevocable consequences. Yet Huntsman repeated this horrific cycle again and again, so many times that she eventually lost count. The sheer frequency and secrecy of her actions were astounding. On one occasion, she even gave birth in the bathroom while Darren West, his brother and sister-in-law, were in the living room watching TV, completely.
How did they not know? How did they not know? Did they think she was just getting fat? Maybe it was the drugs. Maybe she wasn't really gaining all the birth weight that she needed to. You know what I'm saying? How do y'all not know? Do y'all not see all this blood? How was she able to? And that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're on drugs and you're out of your mind, but you're able to meticulously hide childbirth with people in the house, I'm not understanding.
Unaware of the gruesome event taking place just a few feet away. During this period, Megan was heavily addicted to methamphetamine and alcohol, substances that had ravaged her life and judgment. She confessed that one of the infants was stillborn, a fact later confirmed by autopsy.
It's one more part. I'm
but
sorry.
The
now
others were
we're
born alive and then killed.
This is crazy.
Huntsman
this
explained
is truly
that
crazy. Oh, hold on. Okay,
during this period,
6.
Megan was heavily addicted to methamphetamine and alcohol, substances.
Okay, I think we watched it all. Now, let me see what she said. Evil mom and girlfriend allegedly unalived 8-year-old and hid his body in the attic. Okay, let's see what they talking about.
You don't grab an officer's taser. What's wrong with you? You do not grab someone on our belt. What's wrong with you?
Chaos ensues when authorities arrest a woman wanted by police in connection to a young boy's murder.
You can go in the car. Anybody else want to go? Bro, you put your hands on me, bro. Stop. Get on the ground.
Now the woman whose family was at the
Ooh,
center of the
she
melee
looked rough.
and the mother
She looked crazy. She looked
of
crazy.
the young boy are behind bars in relation to the gruesome death. The case began to unfold just 24 hours prior to the arrest when police in Columbus, Ohio.
How can you do that? Look at this boy. He looks so like innocent and sweet. How can you do that?
Ohio were dispatched to a local home on reports of a missing child. During a frantic 911 call, LaShonda Wilder reported that her 8-year-old son, Martonio Wilder, ran away from home.
Please, can I get a food here? My 8-year-old son ran away last night.
Okay, ma'am, you said 1044 Olmsted.
Then this whole crying.
And yes, please.
You said he ran away last night?
It's the fact this hoe is crying.
We just got her, but like 5 minutes ago. We came looking for it.
This the second time now. Y'all remember yesterday we heard that mom lying. Hey, Binky, what's up, girl? Hey, what's up, girl? Yes, we talking about these moms that are losing their damn minds. Yesterday we saw the lady who cooked her 2 kids in the oven, called the police, and was like, I can pull it back up. Called the police and basically was telling the police, you know, she was trying to cover for herself. I'm gonna play it after this again for those of y'all who didn't watch it. These women are really something else, man.
Hey, he's not in my house. He's not in my house, please. He already did this before. Martonio.
You said Martonio?
Martonio, yes, it's like Rtonio. Oh my God, please. Wilder, W-I-L-D-E-R.
8-year-old, what does he look like? Is he white, black, Hispanic?
You don't grab an officer.
So basically, the woman unalived her child, and her and the girlfriend hid the body in the attic. Ma'am, I don't understand. Here, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna show y'all this story for those of y'all who didn't catch it yesterday. And then this is gonna be the last thing that I talked about because this was crazy to me. This woman cooked her children in the oven and sent the video to the dad. Then tried to lie. Y'all are gonna hear on this 911 call how evil she is and how she tried to like lie and cover herself. Like she was so worried about covering herself. Like she didn't even care about her kids. And look at how crazy she looked.
Ma'am, I have a question, and this is a serious matter. I just left my cousin in the house with my kids. She just left my kids in the house when I came back from work, and my kids, 2 of my kids are dead. What do I gotta do? They dead. She left them dead in the house by themselves.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Where are you now?
No, Hurricane Poirot. She cooked her children. I'm sorry if I said her husband. She cooked both of her kids in the oven, called 911, and was like, I left my kids with my cousin, and my cousin left and left the kids alone. And I came home and both of my kids are unalive. And she was saying, like, the oldest one is the only one still alive. My whole thing was, who were you going to pin it on? Because which cousin were you going to pin it on? And were you going to try to pin it on the oldest kid?
I'm in my house. She left my...
These kids are 2 and 1 years old.
Door open. My baby boy, my oldest baby boy, is the only one that's here. The only one that's alive. She left them in the house by themselves. She left them in here, and they knocked the stove. Can you listen? When I came in, the stove was laying on my friend. I don't know what to do. I just came home to work from this. And she just left my baby there.
Okay, ma'am, I'm gonna get EMS and I'm gonna get police and fire at the location. Can you tell me where you're located?
Ma'am, I can't even talk. This is so serious. I'm so scared. I don't want to get locked up because I was at work.
She's worried about whether or not she's going to get locked up. I don't want to get locked up because I was at work. Ma'am, you deserve to be like publicly strung up. Y'all know how y'all seen Roots, right? The original, right? Y'all remember how the master did Kunta? She deserves that 10 times over, right? Every day of her life.
Okay, ma'am. I understand that you're scared. I completely understand, but I need to get some help out there
Like,
to you now.
she
Can you tell me where
absolutely deserves, like, she deserves. Have y'all seen, there was like back in medieval times, they used to like tie people's, like they used to tie your hands to ropes and like put them on these wheels and like stretch your body apart. Yeah, like that's what she deserves. Ma'am, you are worried about jail. That should be the least of your worries, okay?
located?
You going to hell, bitch.
I understand it, but can you please help me? Like, can you please tell me, like, I don't want to get locked up because this is not
Yes.
my fault. I had just came home from work. I just came home from work.
Yes.
I just came home from work.
And that's what I was talking about yesterday, Binky. Like, it is so imperative that women get their mind right. Because yes, like, if you really think about it, yes, this is the most extreme case, but there are so many women who mistreat their children because of their child's father. Like, I've met so many kids who have had a child by a man and like mistreat the child because the child reminds them of their father, right? When it's like, well, why just don't have the kid? Like, if you don't like the man and you wouldn't want to reproduce somebody like them, then just don't have the kid. You know, like, it's really that simple. Don't have the kid. You wouldn't want to reproduce another human like the man you're sleeping with. Either stop sleeping with him, or if you get pregnant, go immediately, you know, do what you got to do to take care of that. Because if you don't like him, you're as a person, if you don't like who he is as a person, and the kid comes out like them, and you know you're not going to be able to like see that kid as their own individual, just don't have him. But the problem is, like, a lot of women have babies in this is one thing that's really causing a lot of this. I think a lot of these women are having babies out of situationships to begin with. So you're having children by men who don't want you, never claimed you. You were just somebody that they came, slept with, but they never claimed you, honored you, showed any real interest in you, right? And they're having these babies just to try to keep these men in their lives. She deserves to go one-on-one with the Undertaker. Where's Teddy Long at? Like, facts, like, it's super sad. Since the kids were so close on age, do you think she had any postpartum depression at all? Not an excuse, but I'm curious if you think that played a part at all. Oh, yes, of course. I mean, yes, of course. I mean, you have to be mentally ill to do something like that. And postpartum depression is a mental illness. But you have to be mentally out of your freaking mind to do something like that, you know? But that's another reason why we need to start teaching women. If you're not in a real relationship and you don't have a real support from the man, and like he don't really want to be with you like that, don't have the kid. If you know that, like, and everybody says, oh, I help you with babysitting while you're pregnant. But if you know your community is not really solid because they ain't really been solid for you while you were a single woman, just know they're not going to be solid. Like, if you can't count on people before you have a baby, then don't have a baby. And sometimes it's a matter of you can't count on people because of your character. Like, a lot of people ain't fooling with you. They ain't rocking with you because you have bad character, which she seems like she had bad character, you know? Because I would think even if you did something like that out of a moment of temporary insanity, like once you came to, you would be so frantic that you wouldn't be calling trying to cover it up. You'd be like, oh my God, I just did this to my kids. You know, you'd be freaking out. Yes, use them. They get pregnant with the wrong men, and these men get the wrong women pregnant. Like, she's the wrong type of woman. Like, let's be clear. There's no man that is worth his salt is getting that pregnant, right? And I'm talking about her mindset. Right. Horrible character. Yeah. Like she seems like a terrible person. So a lot of women, like that's another thing. Yes, because people have to work more, it's harder for us to like form community because everybody's busy and everybody's struggling. But then like there are some women who, even if people had it, they wouldn't do anything for them because they just burnt too many bridges and screwed people over.
Word. Ma'am, the first thing that I need to do is get some help out there to you. I understand that you're upset and you're
They
scared.
didn't hear Dad. Like it's no way in the fuck. She left my baby dead.
Okay.
And I don't have no way to reach her.
If you're not sure, if you were at work, ma'am, listen to me. If you were at work while this happened, then the responsibility is going to fall on your sister. That's who you left them with. Okay? Okay. Hold on one moment, because I'm going to also get EMS on the line as well. Okay? Atlanta 911.
I mean, this is just crazy, y'all. And unfortunately, like I said, people are folding. If the economic situation, because a lot of this was crazy. Because she sent this to the father, I think she was trying to get back at the dad, right? So she video recorded it, y'all, and sent it because I found this on Instagram. So the story from the news is she video recorded her cooking the kids and sent it to the child's father. So I don't know why she called 911 trying to cover herself because, ma'am, you already sent the video to the baby daddy, okay? But anyway, my whole thing is like, what did he not want to be with you? Did he get a new girlfriend? And that's the problem when you have kids by somebody thinking it's going to make them stay in your life, right? That's not like men can come and go when they want to. If they care about you, a lot of times, you know, I agree with this. Six the Goddess said this, and I 100% agree with her. She says men treat their children the way they feel about you. And that's facts. A lot of the times, if you were in a real relationship with a man who had at least some deep care for you, and it wasn't a situation where he was just like using you for like money or something, but y'all had a long-standing relationship, right? And he comes from a decent enough family, right? That man, even when y'all break up, is going to take care of his kids. He is. Like, he is. If it was a situation where it's just a situationship, your kids are going to be put on the back burner, especially when they get a new girlfriend that they actually like and they have kids with them or something like that, because you were just the chick that he hit up when he was horny. Like, you know, a lot of times they like, dang, I want to have kids by this chick, but they're reckless and irresponsible, or, you know, they just want to see if they can get somebody pregnant. So like as a woman, you got to know how the man treats you before you have the kid and how he feels about you before he has the kid. That's how he's going to treat his kid. Yep, that's how we was raised, by trauma. Facts. So, you know, I mean, these women are trash, guys, and I don't know what else to say, but I'm going to get off of here, guys. My camera is about to die. Thank you all for tuning in, and I hope y'all have a wonderful weekend. I will see y'all on Monday. Again, y'all, remember, I'm changing it to the afternoon show, so don't be looking for me around 12, okay? One thing we know is that women love men that are good in bed, and they barely be that, okay? These women don't know what good. They don't know what it is. I promise you they don't. With that said, y'all have a good evening. Good night. I'm saying good night. Y'all have a good evening. I'll see y'all Monday. Bye-bye.